This is my 1979 Berkeley jet powered boat. It originally came with a Ford 460 big block. I'm engine swapping it with a Triton V10, which came out of a early 2000s Ford F250. I'm having to make a lot of my own parts for this conversion and using a Mustang transmission with a clutch in this boat. Stay tuned for this episode and what we're getting onto. So in an effort of being lazy, I have to take the whole jet drive apart, which I have done before, so it's not going to be that bad, but I don't really want to do it, but it's like 10 o'clock. I need to find out if I need a special tool. I know there's a big socket you need. I can make something or use something, but I just need to know how deep it needs to be. So I'm probably not going to record this. There's plenty of videos on removing a jet drive, which I just watched the catalog of how to do. So okay, you join me with the pump disassembled. Thankfully this isn't due to anything catastrophic other than the bearing. The nut on here was easy to take off. Everything came off nicely. The gasket on the bowl is kind of meh. Actually, I just dinged it there. But shaft looks perfect. I actually had to have the I mean, it's not perfect, but I had the a special bushing setup done for the bowl, like, because it was irreparable. Haha. But that's a good one, irreparable. It was irreparable, but I had someone custom machine a stainless shaft, and then in that stainless shaft I put two bronze bushings, like the repair kit, and then I run gear oil in it, not grease. So where I'm at, this is the last kind of bit. The nut on here came off really easy, which is nice. That cover is a pain in the ass to get off. Thankfully the O-ring's in good shape. Trying to see what else I gotta do here. I got the packing bracket gland out. Actually, I got that nice brass hammer there. I'm just gonna do a few taps on the shaft and see if it comes out. If it comes out, that will be a very happy camper. So let's hope it comes out. Ho ho ho! Let's go! That bearing has been haunting me for so long. And just careful on the seals. And the packing doesn't look the best in that spot, but we is out. Just a few little left taps down this way. Look at that, boy. Guess we're just gonna wire wheel the end of this from where I was welding. I think I might have genuinely spent more time welding than it actually took to take the jet drive apart. Okay, just starting to squeeze by the balls. That is a hilarious statement. See that? Well, what I tell you, the battery died in the middle of greasing or packing the bearing. Like, you need to see how to do this. I'm sure there's plenty of tutorials, but I could have used the special Berkeley tool in order to change it. No, you don't. Don't hold the hammer like a bitch. There we go, boys. You don't need the special tools. Another low-key day after work. I just got a pile of Amazon AN fittings in. I'm going to order the lines from somewhere higher quality, but just some plugs and adapters and stuff. Tonight, I'm not feeling like doing a whole lot, so I'm going to try and make a filter mount. I'm just tidying up this harness here. I'm going to make a filter mount here, and then I'm going to make a oil filter housing mount over there. Okay, I got a little bracket done up. I'm going to take this side off a little more, but I went off the 2 head bolts. There's actually a coolant line that goes here that I'm not using, and then I tapped and threaded the upper holes so our fuel filter sits like this, and that actually sits right in line with the fuel inlet, or feed, I guess you'd call it, feed and return. So anyways, I'll probably snip this down just this way and then peel the stuff off. Alright, I prettied up the bracket a little bit. I had to use a hex head fastener on the bottom so it would clear the filter body. It was almost touching, which I didn't particularly like. So I'll install this fuel filter. This is just an Amazon spec. I had one of the permacool ones, which is supposed to be the cat's ass, but it kind of sucked. I didn't really like it. And the black anodizing on this filter housing matches the black filter housing for the oil filter. For symmetry's sake, I have this oil filter housing that could probably go in a pretty similar spot. I just don't want to interfere with these lines too much. But yeah, if I do the same thing I did with this, I have a nice symmetrical filter setup, which pleases me greatly. Okay, so I copied what I could, and this is pretty much the stock of material I have left. It's barely wide enough, so the filter is going to sit right about there. And I do have to space it out by another 1/4 inch to clear the bolts, because on this particular housing the circle diameter of the filter is basically right up to that edge there, so that won't work with having the bolts sit like that. I don't want to go and buy countersunk bolts when I can just cut another piece of aluminum, so I'm going to cut another piece of aluminum. Turns out I forgot to press record, but just installing the brackets. It's like 11:40 on a work night. It's not too horrible. I got so extremely close to the edge on this piece, it's actually hilarious. Don't worry, it's just the oil filter. It's nothing too crazy. Okay, it's late and I must sleep, but there you go. See how the filter element sits at the same plane, roughly. And this one I can still get to the water drain. That might be different if I change the filter and then that's in a different spot, but problem for future John there. So yeah, that seems like more than enough clearance for a filter. Happy about that. Not super happy about how high those lines are going to come up, but what can you do? Can you stop? Okay. It's a Friday evening. It is it's 11:30. Most people would be out drinking. I am trying to TIG weld for the first time. I have this Welder, Arc Captain unit. I had a foot pedal ready to go for it, but the pin, it's a 5-pin foot pedal, but it was the wrong 5 pins, so I'm just going with the finger trigger one for now. Ideally I want to do a foot pedal. I got argon gas, I got what I think is the correct type of tungsten. I'm just gonna mess around and find out what happens, I guess. Completely green. I've never even done steel TIG welding, so aluminum TIG welding is the the natural first step in learning how to do something. You want to do the most difficult thing possible, which is good. So again, this is kind of just for fun, but I guess we'll see what happens. Apparently you gotta sharpen tungsten, which I didn't know, so I'm gonna do that now, and this will be a raw experience in how shit I am at this. I don't even know what settings are the welder's on right now, so yeah, anyways, I'm gonna try and sharpen this tungsten and go from there. Cool. Not really doing much, but huh. Okay, I am going to, I don't know why I'm not wearing gloves, but ooh, that's toasty. Didn't like that spot. Woo! That's so cool! Woo-hoo-hoo. That is sick. I am intrigued and scared at the implications of this. First thing I'm gonna do is get some gloves because it's hot. And these are actually a really nice pair of welding gloves until I completely ruined them working on Margaret, so. Well, let's do some welding. I've seen people like wipe down the filler rod. I don't know if that's a legit thing or not, but I don't know. We'll find out. I don't think I'm at that level for it to matter yet, so maybe the rolly chair was not the move, but why did I touch that? I literally am putting gloves on because it's hot. Oh yeah, the torch is over here. I have no idea. I didn't change any settings, so this shit is just how it works, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot going on with this thing, man. Got two hands. It's like learning how to drive stick again. Oh, it's not that bad, but it's like learning how to snowboard switch. That's a very obscure reference if you don't know how to snowboard, but okay. Oh. Oops. It seems as though we have broken the breaker. Mamma mia. I mean, we're doing something. Do I? Okay. The battery's getting low. I don't know how much of that we got, but I'm gonna mess around for a bit longer, see what I can do. Okay, the oil system is pretty much the only one I can do that's completely isolated to the engine, at least you'd hope it would be. These fittings are what came with the kit, but they're not what I'm going to use ultimately. Again, there's like a bunch of different options for ORB fittings, 90 degrees. I wanted to use a banjo bolt style one, but they weren't in stock on Amazon, and I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible. Yeah, they're still swivel 90s. Or they're supposed to be swivels, good lord. Alright, they do spin. They're just really tight. Excellent. Alright. Cool. Apparently my hands are weak today. Okay. Unfortunately, the second fitting is going to be a little bit more painful. Why did I choose the super stiff one for that? I don't know. Wow, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? So off of these, again, these are just the Chinese fittings that came with the setup. Not a super fan of how the threads show on the fittings, but what can I do about that? Nothing. Okay, I was just trying out these clamps on the hose. They seem like a really good investment. It's not really an investment, they're not that much. People say that about expensive stuff and cheap stuff, so. Anyways, I'm gonna reposition the camera here and then show you what we're working with. So, what I gotta do today, this is the only hose I have stock. It came with this kit. Or have stock of. So from here up to the filter housing, right with that line. So actually what I was doing before, but I didn't want to lose the fittings, is I'm taking the, I don't know what you call it, the ferrule end off of the AN fitting, and then going to the other end without the fittings on there. These ones need to be snugged up actually. Do that now with my fingers. Oh, is there an extra fitting in there? Yeah, there's an extra fitting. I'll have to go over and tighten these again. I don't know if I did the final torque on them, but we're just getting a rough idea right now. And because we're going around a bend with a 90-degree hose, the distances are going to differ slightly between one and the other. So pretend that's going on there. I actually wanted to flare out at all, but with that, we pin it at 90. Okay, so it's one. I think I might just cut this hose straight in half. It's 90. So if anything, I'll shorten one of the hoses. The other thing I have to be careful of, like I mentioned briefly, is the inlet and outlet of the filter. You don't want to flow your oil backwards into the filter. So I gotta look that up briefly, and then I'll make the lines and bracket here. I just realized I don't need to look up any diagrams. I can just look at the old housing. So if we go from here, you can actually just follow the flow path. So lower fitting comes along here, goes all the way around here, and that is to the outer ring. Yes, the outer ring. And then the inner one, I can feel it with my fingers, goes to the upper fitting. So that means, so lower has to go to the outer. So the outer, lower. I think that will work out good, because that would be the natural path in which you flow them. So I'm going to take this line and cut it on the bandsaw. I think you got to wrap it in electrical tape first. If I can find some electrical tape. Where are my wrenches? So now I got two roughly equal length of hose. So we'll just do a dry run on those again. Lower goes to outside. Brilliant. And then this one goes to here. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is just make the lines, and then these stay on there permanently. Okay. Well, I can take them off here. I'm just gonna grab a pencil. I just want to be super sure I'm not pushing the end of the line. Okay, that's outside going to outside, inside, lower going to outside. Okay, I'm going to double check it in my brain that everything's all good, and then this guy's going to come up something like that. Sweet. That's one line. We'll clean it up in a second. I don't have my phone in my pocket. It's going to fall out. Well, not going to, but it might. There we go. Okay, bracket time. I need the sander to deburr it a little bit. So we're going to go there, about there. I'll drill the hole for the bolt on the end first, if I have any more of those bolts actually. It's a good point to check for those. Okay. Got the piece made through hole. And I probably could have used the other holes to pick up off of, but I'm not that concerned about this bracket. So move that in. I will roughly position this where we want to go. And I need a marker or something. That one, I might. Right there. Yeah. Sure. Again, this bracket is not super integral. The only thing I need it is to thread some specific threads in. That's about it. So, I don't know why it stops recording, man. But since aluminum gets quite hot, I'm making a little jig here so I can hold it with vice grips in the on the belt sander. I also changed the belt to be a little sharper. Okay, so the camera battery did just die. but this is the setup we got. The threads pulled through on the aluminum, which I thought they would because I couldn't get this tight enough. So I actually snuck a nut in behind that plate, and I actually have it so it jammed up against the casting, and that is extremely tight. So if I ever had to take this line off, all I have to do is loosen the bigger Allen bolt going into the head. That should be alright. I'm not super concerned about heat soak from the cylinder heads going to the lines. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. It's kind of tight here, but the line's not touching anywhere. And this additional clamp helps keep the path, and then I put another clamp in down there. Turned out good. Like I don't know how much better it could turned out. I could have ran the line straight down, but I might have some accessories nearby. I will probably put some heat shielding in this sort of area now that I think about it, because the exhaust is going to be right near there, but it's what I could do with the space I had, so we will deal with that later. But yeah, I'll probably put heat shielding on the oil cooler lines because those are pretty close now that I think about that. For some reason I was thinking there was more space between the last one there, but I guess not. I got these set up. This is going to be, so inlet here, 100 microns, bunch of adapters, fuel pump. This will go up to the 10 micron filter on the engine. I actually got this Milwaukee pack out for Christmas and I couldn't figure out what to do with it until now. It is my portable AN kit, because a lot of times I don't have internet in the shop here, so if I'm trying to find the threads on something, I go back and forth in between the shop. I just take all my AN fittings with me, which it works fantastically. So we have these -6 bulkhead fittings. So instead of welding a bung into the fuel tank, which I am not skilled enough to do or prepared to do, I'm just going to use these. So there's two probably nylon or Teflon washers, and then you just drill a hole about that size and put it in the tank. I didn't fiberglass the tanks in because that's a stupid idea and no one should ever do that. Even on your boat that you're like a professional fiberglasser, and I should never have to take these out. Why would you ever fiberglass tanks into a boat? Like, it makes them horrible to remove, clean, do anything with. And that's my opinion, which is correct. In this case, I've been wrong many times before, and I will be again. But yeah, we got a bunch of Robbie bits. Robertson. If you don't know what a Robertson is, it's a fastener design on wood screws that's superior to Phillips in every way, and was invented in Canada. Torques are pretty good too for wood screws, I'll say. Having used both in construction applications in the real world, not just on the internet. Oh yeah, I got the. I could just reach overboard. Take the thing out. There we go. So this is the bracket that I fabric-cobbled. I was really proud of that when I made it, because it made a really impossible solution a reality. Mount this friggin' thing. Could have drilled my holes slightly better on that, but I probably one of the first things I actually fabricated on this boat. But there isn't really many other things that I did, to be completely honest. And this is gonna be fun. I don't really want to use the pry bar too much because the hull is kind of fragile. I'll use it on this step. There we go. And now we do the dance. Sliding this out without spilling shit. There's one out. There's our NPT connection. That's going to be the feed hose for the fuel pumps, and they'll probably run along somewhere here. That is what I want to figure out today. I got to take these fellas apart. and double check they're working. Or I can just get a set of new sensors, but they're really just I'm gonna hold the camera between the legs here. All these are is a variable resistor, which is genuinely, it's the same system cars use currently even. Well, maybe some new cars have some other bullshit way of telling you the levels. A cool system you can get, which I cannot afford, well I could afford, but I don't see a purpose in affording, is the, I don't know, is it Holley that makes them? Somebody makes a, it's basically an optical, I think they call it laser, but laser might be a marketing term. It's basically an optical sensor for depth on a, in a fluid. So it seems pretty archaic. Like you could probably make one of those optical sensors pretty easily, but they want like 200 bucks for them or something. 200 per side is a pretty penny, so I ain't got time for that or money for that. I had to make custom gaskets for this, even though someone probably makes them. I don't even remember what I made these out of. I think I bought gasket specific material, but these are genuinely, so either there's two options here. Either the float ain't floating, which I thought I tested, or the resistor ain't resisting. But this is a goofy setup because it like full would be like to the brim full. So I might bend that down a little because I don't think I'm ever going to top it off that much. So you can just bend this little arm and then that will give you a broader spectrum of full or empty. So I found my multimeter and we weren't getting a good reading on the fuel level sensors. So I was just going to clean everything up slightly and hopefully that works. 277. This one seems to be stuck at around 280 ohms. See this one. Open. Well, why is that? Okay. Let me dissect this one and see what's going on. Ooh-wee. Ay. Okay, maybe I should just get new ones. I don't know if you can see on the inside there, she's pretty rough. Okay. I guess we gotta go shopping. About an inch and a half hole. So for $40 each, I have ordered new fuel sending units. That's exciting. Fuel sending units. They're really nice because they're sealed, I'm assuming. They're stainless steel. They're some sort of magnetic device. The old ones were completely cooked and not working at all. So you just have to measure the length spec. And then we're gonna find out if the bolt pattern matches up because I might have to re-drill holes. I'm not gonna re-drill the main hole, I'm just gonna re-drill the 5 bolt pattern. So, and then I also got a bunch of other NPT fittings. So yeah, I'll throw the other fittings on in a second. So this is the new guy. This is a sealed type one. These are superior, I would say. The old style ones are like this. They have an exposed resistor in there, which just got absolutely toasted. So new ones it is. I gotta double check the thread pitch on these bolts. I don't really want to use the old bolts, but if I have to, I will. Okay, so this is actually good because these bolts are slightly different thread pitch. What's actually not the best because I'm gonna have to hook up the vacuum and do the cleaning again. Bad idea. Okay, I don't have a Phillips screwdriver. Out. Excellent. Thought I did. I wish I planned this better, but the return line for the fuel system goes right in the way, but it's all right. Again, I would have planned this, but I had this in before I got this. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. There's no point in really recording that because it's just loud. So this is the fuel tank drilling setup. You got to have a blower shop vac. It's in the filler neck, and when I turn that on, you're not going to be able to hear shit. But essentially it pressurizes the whole thing and wants to blow whatever's being dropped in there out. So hopefully this will work. I know it's not going to be 100%, like we're not building a rocket ship here, but I want to avoid putting as much aluminum shavings and debris in the fuel tank as possible. So we'll start with the I gotta tap these to to 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch MPG. My ears are ringing and I can't pick them up. On the filler caps, this is one that came with the boat. I bought another one of these. But the fiberglass that these go down into is completely shot. So might as well make some plates for that. I could use just some basic steel, I think would work for that. Some kind of thin gauge. They're slightly different pattern and shape, but I couldn't be asked to spend more money on marine grade stuff, so I'll be back. Plate done. They're really rough. It's mainly just because I'm putting a little dab of silicone on and then sticking them up. I use these M5 screws, stainless ones, looks a lot cleaner. I mounted it this way because it seems more aerodynamic, I guess, but it's a little goofy. So for my fuel pump setup, I got these guys. I think I already showed these, but you can actually buy clamps on Amazon for pretty inexpensive. So the one is a 50 mil clamp, the other is a 60 mil clamp. The problem is that well, I see two problems here. Oh yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. Getting these clamps on will definitely be interesting. Can't even see what I'm doing. Oh. So I have this rubber sleeve, and then the clamp goes on. I wish they had a two-piece clamp, like a rod, like a rod end almost, because it fits, but you know, just barely. Yeah. Like I might have to take the rubber out and just do my own rubber insulation on these, but I don't know how long these bolts are. Whew, barely. Okay, let's make sure that's squared up. Get that clamp down. One thing that didn't occur to me is that the offset of the different clamps might not be the same. Also, these filter bodies are actually closer to yeah, that's what I thought. The filter bodies are closer to 55 mils, so you might have to modify these a little bit. By modify, I mean stretch them. Getting the rubber bit onto these could be a task. Okay, so I got a bicycle inner tube. I'm just going to cut and stretch over the filter. So I have a little, this metal might be too thin. I'm attempting to use, but we will see. I set the amps down a lot. This is the shaft for the flex coupling. 6x6s. Two sizes of wood that I could find. If I grab my clutch alignment tool, that is a 7/16 Mastercraft socket and a 3/8 to 1/2 inch, and that actually fits wonderfully. Oh, we have a leak. Oh, that's dumb.